He talks a good game. He talks a good game on the outside. He talks a good game.
Hello, welcome to On the Ed Son. I hope you're all well. So this is the day after the fantastic win. West Ham went to Spurs, beat them 2-1. Last minute winner from Wilson. Fantastic. Look, before the game, there was a bit of hope, maybe a bit of false hope, but there was a kind of a belief. Certainly, I could gather from the ether a little bit, but the people I spoke to, but also from within myself, right? And saying, if we take it to them, I think we've got a good chance because they're not playing well themselves. The first half, I thought we had much better of it. We were playing well, we were having chances, and you probably could argue we should have gone in 2 or 3 up in the first half. Certainly from the chances that we created and better finishing and better situations if they unfolded in the way they could. We could have, got there. But, coulda, woulda, shoulda. We only went in 1-0 up. Great goal from Somerville. Yeah, got a deflection, but he was a menace all game, I thought. So, he was on top form. And I thought most of the team, most of the players were on top form. They played really well. They were sticking in there. Really good defensive display from Mavropanos and Tadibo. Skulls was doing great. I thought Wan-Bissaka had a great game. So in terms of the back four, I thought we were doing all right. Yeah, we were inviting pressure. Yeah, we were under a lot of pressure, especially second half from Tottenham. It just seemed as if that goal was coming from Tottenham. But the first half, we seemed to be playing on the front foot. Second half, we seemed to sit back a little bit more, inviting Tottenham onto us. So I thought, it's only going to be a matter of time here if we keep this up. But in that moment, I thought we were actually doing really well. I thought we were actually holding our own. But then, they got their goal, and I thought, we could easily go down here. But we stuck at it, and we had our chances. Pablo had his chance, and it didn't go anywhere near the goal, but it was a decent effort. Tati had another chance, and this is before, obviously, the last minute. And then I thought this is where I kind of lost faith in the moment, just in the moment, when Nuno brought on Rodriguez, and it was 1-1, and I thought, he's settling for the draw. He's actually settling for the draw. That's all he cares about. He's just settling for the draw. And I thought, again, this is my complaint with Nuno, is that there are opportunities where you're still in the game to try for the win. Because it's not as if we're mid-table or, vying for Europe now, where we absolutely need the 3 points. We're right in the bottom 3. We need the 3 points. We have to go out and win. So a draw doesn't really, it does a little bit for us, but it doesn't do a lot in the grand scheme of things. And especially the way the results unfolded throughout the day, and I'll dig into that in a minute, then you kind of think, no, we definitely have to have the win. So in that moment, right, I thought it was the wrong move. I thought we were inviting Spurs on. Yes, you're inviting them on, so you want to shore it up a little bit more. I get it. But we needed to pin Spurs back a little bit more, that to stop them playing. That's what we needed to do. Albeit I thought most of the players were doing really, really well. I have big doubts, I've got to say, against Pablo. I've got big doubts about his speed, about his mobility, about his strength on the ball, and some of the quality. Tati, I'm actually quite happy with. It's interesting that we're playing Pablo and Tati up there, and Bowen off the right side and Somerville on the left side. This is kind of what I've been screaming for ages. Have 2 up top, almost play a 4-4-2. Okay, in whatever configuration you want. We had 4 at the back. You could say we had 4 across midfield. And then, and I thought Souček had a decent game as well in there. But I thought Pablo, It's too early to tell, but of what I've seen, I just look at the few duels that he had. I'm not talking about effort here, by the way. This has got nothing to do with effort. This has got nothing to do with anything, in terms of a derogatory sense towards Pablo. I just don't think there is that quickness of the quickness of the turn. He's not quick in the first 3 yards. It seems as if he lumbers a little bit or labours a little bit is probably the word. But look, let's just see how he unfolds. I think Tati's going to be more of a success than Pablo is, right? So with that in mind, all in all, I thought for effort, everybody was giving it a good one. They raised their game, and I just want them to maintain their game for regardless of who the opposition is, right? Because that's the problem here. That's the problem is we raised our game for Spurs away. We needed to put in a performance. We needed to come away with a win. There's a lot of to and fro in behind the scenes, obviously, at West Ham, and I'll dig into that in a little bit as well. But so we needed it, so they get that performance. So you just wonder, can they do that again next week against Sunderland? Can they do that, against Man United? Can they do that against, whatever it is, Chelsea, whomever it is? Can they do it again? Can they do it again? Can they do it so that we're picking up points, draws and wins? That gets closer and closer to Forest so that we can climb out of it, and then Forest drop into the bottom three. Because I think realistically, if you're looking at it now, Forest are the only ones that are there with us. Leeds yesterday, they got their win, last minute winner, didn't they? Against Fulham. Was it Fulham? They got 1-0. They beat Fulham right in the dying seconds. So they got their win. So they've got a bit of daylight between them and Leeds. They're on 25 points. Nottingham Forest, they got us a very commendable 0-0 draw at home to Arsenal, right? So for them, it's great. For us, it's not so great. But so, there's 5 points between us. So they got a point. So anytime they score a point or get a point or a win, it's worse for us. But we need to keep on piling the pressure to keep on getting closer and closer. And I think if we can swap our place with Forest, that's our only option. I think Leeds are too good for us. Unless some, one of these teams, like Leeds, Bournemouth, Spurs, Palace, you could even throw into that, suddenly drop their form, start losing loads and loads of games. I think really you're looking at Bournemouth, Leeds and Forest as an outside chance for them to lose form. Certainly Bournemouth and Leeds to lose form, and then for us to capitalise on that and close the ground. The problem is, especially with Leeds, as I think I said this in the sort of preview of this, that Leeds have got decent home form. They're really good at home, so they're picking up points. So if they can continue to pick up points at home, they're going to be safe. They'll be fine. So I think, in that moment where we needed the points, where we needed the win, again, Nuno goes defensive. He tries to shore it up and just settle for the point. And yes, on the face of it, you think, a point is a good point. But Burnley, they also got a point yesterday, didn't they? Did they? Or not? Burnley, 1-1, sorry. Yeah, they did. I thought they had. Away at Liverpool. Great result for them. So they're still keeping the pressure on in terms of getting draws, getting points on the board. So we didn't. At that point, we were kind of losing our struggle, losing our fight. And whilst we would be getting a point, it wouldn't be enough in terms of all the other results that seem to be panning out or later panned out. But then right at the last minute, he brings on Wilson. So this is where I'm going to sort of backtrack a little bit. So before the game, I thought, before in the previous days, certainly from last weekend, I thought Mavropanos was going to be out for quite a while. So in many ways, I was surprised Mavropanos was even on the bench, let alone the starting lineup, considering what we thought was a neck injury or whatever it was last. And I understand precaution and everything like that, but I thought at least there was going to be another week there. It was great to see him in there. But then I was also surprised to see Wilson in there. And I think, have I missed something here? I thought Wilson was going. He was gone. I thought they terminated his contract. I thought it was done and dusted type thing. I thought we're never going to see him again. And then he's on the bench. I thought, oh, okay. And then Nuno plays, Tati and Pablo up there. And I'm thinking, oh, okay. Well, I'm not sure what's going on. But then in the 90th minute, whatever, he brings him on. You think, well, okay, what what's the point? Okay, you're just trying to bring off like for like. Pablo, he put in a good effort, I've got to say. But you bring him on. Now, are you bringing him on just in the same mindset in that we're playing for a draw? Or are you bringing him on to say, no, we got to go for the win? So if it was the same that you wanted to bring him on to go for the win, then why did you bring on Rodriguez on first and not bring on Wilson? So in my mind, okay, this is the big conspiracy theory here. In my mind, Nuno never intended for the win. He never intended it. So afterwards he can say about, the boys had spirit, there was fight in there, we've been working on this for a long, long time. I just don't think it was ever in his plan for us to have the win. After we got to the draw, after we settled for the draw, I don't think it was ever there. This was as much a surprise to Nuno as it was to the rest of us. Not only that Wilson came on, but also he scored that great goal. His first touch, he got a shot away, good shot, with power, with accuracy, on target, right? Okay, it was great interception, great clearance, but it was heading towards the goal. Now, it would have been debatable whether the keeper would have got a hand to it or not, but regardless, it was on target. And this is the thing that I've been always saying about our strikers, through recent years, to say, okay, when they've had the opportunity to take a shot, they're too hesitant in taking a shot. And also, when they take a shot, more often than not, it's not on target. So we've got somebody in Wilson, and we've seen it ever since he's come in to the club, that when he's had an opportunity, more often than not, he's quick to take a shot, and more often than not, it's on target or very close to being on target. So therefore, we know in that he is a valuable asset in terms of having him as a striker, right? So this is why we're all hopping mad in terms of why are we letting him go? Why doesn't he, albeit we were all very doubtful about him coming to the club in the first place, and always scratching our heads and wondering why is this player with his kind of reputation, his history against West Ham, why are we taking him on? But, we've been all made to eat our words a little bit in terms of Wilson, and thankfully so, right? That's what you want. You want a player to make the doubters eat their words. So he's been a great servant for us, and I'm sure a lot of people would say that he would have been an even better servant, an even greater servant, if he'd been allowed to play a lot more minutes. A lot more minutes. If he'd been allowed to play a lot more minutes, he would have been a great servant for West Ham. But he comes in, he scores his goal. So the question is now, okay, is he staying or is he going? What are we doing with him? Does he want to stay? Afterwards, he's kind of intimating that he wants to stay for the fight. It's great he hasn't had minutes, but it's great to be professional and stay in there. This is what you want from your players. To say, look, they acknowledge that they're not getting minutes, they're not getting time, but they're also professional enough to stick at it, stick with it, and when they got their opportunity, they'll take it. The problem with Pablo and Tati up front is that Tati has kind of risen to the role. Pablo hasn't quite got there yet. Now, it doesn't mean that he won't, but he just hasn't got there yet. So whilst you got Wilson there, and this is what I said a couple of weeks ago, I said, look, the actual gold standard here, the best way to play this is to either have Tati or Pablo alongside Wilson up front, so that you can, guide them in the game as well. They can be a foil for each other. But have Pablo and Tati when you've got Wilson on the bench, or not Wilson at all, you're letting him go, just seems wrong to me. So look, he comes on and he's a menace straight away. Gets a shot on target, forces a corner, and then from the resulting corner, he's very close to the keeper. I know they're protesting. I don't think there's anything in that. And then he's a menace. Great ball in, right into the danger area. You're kind of creating chaos in there, because that's what you want from the defensive team. You don't want that, but the offensive team, you definitely want that. And he gets his goal. Fantastic. So obviously everybody's, we're going great, but the issue here is that I don't believe Nuno intended this at all. It wasn't part of his plan. The issue here is that we're bringing on Wilson in the 90th minute, and he's great, and he gets the goal, we get the win, and this is what we all got to celebrate. But we shouldn't be bringing him on potentially in the 90th minute. We should be bringing him on the 60th minute, right? Or if we're going to bring him on as a sub, or 70th minute, whatever, give him some minutes in the game. Or we should be starting him. I think we should be starting him. So it's all with all the stuff that's been going on with West Ham this last week, behind the scenes, in terms of Paqueta, who didn't start, who wasn't there, right? And, I don't even want to get into why, the whys and wherefores, and does he have a back injury, does he not? And, is this an ongoing issue and everything like that? The problem is that you can't believe the stories a lot of the time. You can't believe a lot of the stuff that comes out. And I know a lot of people have been caught out this week. A lot of channels have been caught out by it. My position was always the same. If he wants to play and he's good enough and he's consistent enough, let him stay, let him play. If he doesn't want to be here, let him go. There's no point in having anybody around who doesn't want to play for the club. The club is more important than the player. Especially a player who hasn't really been delivered to his full potential and hasn't, regardless of what we think in terms of, what he is as a player or what his levels are, right? If he's not delivering for us, or we're not enabling to deliver for us for whatever reason in terms of playing to his strengths and everything like that, the tactics, then we've got to let him go. We've got to play. And I got to say, yesterday, just like in the previous to last game when Paqueta didn't play, I thought we looked a lot better. Our shape looked a lot better. Our plan looked a lot better. And now we've got this two up front, or potentially two up front. We're looking a lot better. Defensively, we looked great. We looked a lot better out there as well. Todibo, I forgot to mention Todibo. Really, really good. It seems as if we were getting our interceptions. We were just on it a little bit more. We were just our duels, our one-on-one duels were we're coming out more successful. We were getting to the ball. We were getting in with those tackles. Yeah, and there was a few cards flying around. Yeah, there was a few tackles coming in. But it's good. You want to see that. You want to see a bit of a fight there. I'm not saying you play dirty, but what I'm saying is you've got to step it up a level. Now, the question is, can we do it on a repeated basis? Well, we'll soon find out, won't we? We'll soon find out. But we've got to do that. We've got to bring that every week. We've got to bring it next weekend. Look, Sunderland, all the things that we say about Sunderland, right, before the season, amazing what they've done, right? They get a win again yesterday, didn't they? Who did they beat yesterday? Crystal Palace. They beat Palace. I know Palace have had a lot of disruption behind the scenes this last week themselves with Gahey and obviously their manager just saying that they'll be leaving at the end of the season and all that sort of stuff. But again, they get a win. They're in 8th position, 33 points. Sunderland have, out their last 6 games, they've drawn 4, lost 1 and won 1. Okay, so it's not terrible. It's not terrible at all. Now, obviously, they're in the position they are because of all the wins and the results they were getting before then. But they're in good form. They're in good form, and especially at that level, they're maintaining their position. Leeds are in good form in terms of maintaining their position. So West Ham, we need to up our form. We need to up our effort and maintain it. So when we play Sunderland next week, we've got to bring it, right? We've got to bring it. Whether we do or not. And the problem is, I was looking at this, watching the Sunderland game, and look, they had chances. They definitely had chances. I was looking at the Brentford game against Chelsea. And Brentford had so many chances against Chelsea. On another day, they would have stuffed Chelsea. They would have stuffed them because they had glorious opportunities to have 3 or 4 goals, and they just messed it up. Another day, they would have put those away. They would have been less hesitant. So there are teams out there that are playing really great football, and guess what? We've got to play them. We've got to play them. And this is where we've got to raise our game, and Nuno's got to raise his game, and all the players got to raise his game, and all the stuff that's going on behind the scenes. I don't even want to think about it. All I want to think about is, do you know what? Can we put out a starting 11? Can we have a bench that is willing to take up the fight and take it to the opposition? And if we can, great. And if we can't, then, well, we know where we're at. We know where we're at because we're in the bottom three for a reason. But there is a faint chance that we might be able to do it if we can keep up these performances. But then again, I always go back to what I said before. Hey, don't forget that we're getting results, we're getting better performances against teams that are really underperforming. When we come up against teams that are doing a lot better than we think they should be doing, or they're outperforming us, that's where we're going to get unstuck, right? Even with those teams, that's the likes of Sunderland next week, and you think, oh, well, maybe we could beat them, right? I've already heard loads of people saying, yeah, we'll beat Sunderland next week. I'm saying, don't be so cocksure. Don't be so sure about that. Because they're going to come and they're going to want to, get a point, get a win, stick it to us, because they're going to see us as the team that are in trouble. They're going to see us as the weak ones. And, we can't underestimate Sunderland coming to us and say, oh, well, it's more of a flash in the pan for Sunderland. Nah, they won't do anything. I'll tell you what, they play some decent football. You'd be surprised how good and how well they've even developed through this season. I've seen them a few times in terms of just on, highlights and a few games that I've caught with Sunderland, and I thought they're not bad. They play some decent football. Sometimes it's defensive, sometimes it's on the attack, but it's there's a decent balance to their game, and especially at home, they're playing well. They're playing well in front of their fans, and the fans are loving it. So, we'll have to wait and see. But if we can get a result against Sunderland next weekend, next Saturday, isn't it? 12:30 kickoff. It's an early kickoff. The following Tuesday, Wednesday. No, it isn't. It's the Saturday, isn't it? We're away at Chelsea. And then I think on the Wednesday, is it? No, the following Saturday, we're away at Burnley. So look, we've got some tough games ahead. The Burnley one is going to be one of those crucial games as well, to see if we can separate ourselves from Burnley even more. Give us the opportunity. But look, yeah, there are still a few games to go, and maybe it is a bit premature to write us off completely. But look, there's hope. There's hope. There's a bit of hope there. Hope springs eternal, as I say. There's a bit of hope. And maybe we can do it. If you like what I do here, keep on watching. If you like these live shows, these live events, keep on showing. I know nobody's joined in the chat today, but if you want to come in and leave comments afterwards, let us know, and I'll keep on doing these live shows. And I like doing them because it gives an opportunity for anybody just to come in and say what you want to say. But there we go. Right. So, for some reason, the chat is disconnected. So, I didn't see the chat for some reason. I don't know why. Let me just redo that. Yeah. No, I don't know why the chat is disconnected, but there we go. Right. There we go. Look, I can see. Oh, my wow. Look at this. I can see loads and loads of chats here. Right. Here we go. Let me just put these up. Let me just do that. Bring that out. Excuse me. I'm not sure if I can display those. They haven't come onto my scene. Let's have a look here. But right, and let me just read out some of these. I think you watched your last show, Guts and Glory. Yeah, absolutely. We did show a bit of Guts and Glory. The only person happy to me this morning is Callum Wilson, agent. Yeah, Clown Cotner. Yeah, maybe. Christian Paul, so happy I was wrong about the result. We did enough to win. Wilson is now a cult hero. I think a lot of us, myself included, totally underestimated, how we were. Frog and a well. Oi, Ed and everyone. Absolutely, yeah. That's the thing, Ed. We had quite a few false dawns these past few seasons. Yeah, absolutely. Drain Hole Hammers, 7685. Afternoon all. They need to play like that every week. Yeah, absolutely. Extra effort and fight. Goes to show effort for other games has been lacking. I think effort and purpose, definitely. Is it that they believed in this system more yesterday with 2 up? I've been saying this for weeks and weeks. 2 up. We need 2 up. Let's have it. Frog and our Wolves have been gaining consistency as well. Yep. Wolves play today, right? Don't they? Let's have a look. No, sorry. 1 second. Just trying to get all this. Today. Yeah, Wolves play at 2 o'clock, don't they? When Wilson came on, I said that's 10 minutes too late. Yeah, I think we all did. It's just too. Strange decision. Why you bring on Rodriguez to shore up the game when we need the win, and then right at the last minute. Now, whether Pablo, he came on for Pablo, didn't he? Yeah, I think he did. He came on for Pablo. I can't remember if it was Pablo or Tati was. Anyway, whomever he came on for, right? You just bring. No, I'm not sure if they're picking up a knock and they just couldn't last that last minute or so. That's why he's bringing them on. I don't know, but there we go. Meltzer, so on Wilson's contract, how much would you have earned for those 10 minutes? I think Wilson has done Sullivan up like a kipper. We need to keep him big time. Again, it's all very confusing to me. It's this last week and a half, 2 weeks. Do you know what I mean? Underestimating Harrogate AFC would be risky based on the past games. Yeah, absolutely right. Listen, I'm sorry I can't put the chat up. For some reason, it disconnected. I don't know why. Oh, there we go. Now it's come back up. Yeah, there we go. Ta-da! No, it's all up now. I like what you do there, and I'll keep on watching. Well, thanks very much, mate. Thanks very much. You've always been around. I appreciate it. I do take note of who makes comments and who's in the chat and all that kind of stuff, and on my past videos. So I do appreciate that. So thank you. Listen, I am a happy hammer, 100%. As long as we keep on winning because of the position that we're in, I'm happy. I'm loving it. Can we do enough? Can we win enough to get us out of this mess? Who knows? But right now, there's a little bit of hope. And if you'd asked me a week ago, I'd be like, no chance. But we were saying it. During the week, we were saying it. There's a chance to go to Spurs and do it. My fear is that when Sunderland come to us next weekend, and I will be there, and I will be giving it to them if they don't do it, that all of a sudden the levels will drop a little bit. And it's almost like that they can't maintain that high level of intensity. So if they do, great, fantastic, and hopefully we'll get a win. And hopefully Forest will lose, so that'll close the gap even more. But if they don't, it will just go to show that we just can't afford this inconsistency. It'd be very interesting to see now what happens in the next few weeks in terms of Paqueta, of course, in terms of Wilson, of course, in terms of players that we get in. Are we going to get any players? Are we going to get any other defenders? That kind of thing, There you go. Hello, Ed. Amongst many, I personally want us to smash Sunderland next week. Well, I could, I will be there screaming and shouting on your behalf, saying, smash them. Smash Sunderland. I'll smash them. Smash them like the smashed potato they need to be. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. We've got to. Come on, you motherfucking irons. Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Meltzer. When Mav slid in and went hard on Simmons, and Simmons looked at Mav and smiled in the first 10 minutes, priceless. That's how a defender should defend. Do you know what? It's not only in a derby, right? It's all the time. It's almost like Todibo as well, right? It's almost, but I think you could throw in actually all the back four. I think you put Skulls and Wan-Bissaka in there. There was something in them that was like, okay, forget all this fancy defending. I think because I didn't get to the game, I was actually, unfortunately, I was working, but working for part of the day. But I think the commentator on the stream, on the official footy coverage that I was watching, he was basically saying that it's just very basic defending, very basic effective defending. And that's what it appeared to me as well. It was no nonsense defending. It was just get in there, get the crunching tackles in there, time them correctly, clear the ball, clear it out of defence. And I thought, you know what? And maybe when we were getting under pressure, when we were sitting back a lot more, that kind of played into that even more, because I thought the second half defensive display from us was fantastic. Whilst Spurs were getting more and more on top of us, and they got their goal. I got to say, that was a decent goal from them as well, from Porro, wasn't it, who scored? Decent goal. Great. I was very concerned about the crosses, because they kept on coming down the right-hand side and trying to not go past Skulls so much, but trying to get those balls to curl round Skulls. If you notice, a lot of those crosses were curling round Skulls and going, trying to get into the 6-yard box as well. That's where a lot of their crosses were coming from, and sometimes they were trying to beat the man. I will say this: I was very worried when I can't remember who the player is. It could have been Gallagher, who went right through to the byline, and Skulls touched the ball. His arm was out there. You've seen it, of course, and he pushed the ball. Was pushed, and then Gallagher was able to just get the cross in. And Romero, sorry, Romero. That's right, not Romero. But I just thought, do you know what? I think that's a penalty. I was thinking that I thought that was a penalty, and I was really concerned, because I thought you could see them giving that. And part of me was thinking, as West Ham fan, no, it was just his arm was there and it just touched. And but if a Spurs player had done it, I'd be, no, that's a penalty. So I was stuck between my football head and my West Ham head on that one, and I was very concerned. I think, if I have to be objective about it, I think we got away with one there, even though VAR looked at it and the ER looked at it, and I thought we were lucky there. We were lucky. But there we go. Thought we were odds on to blow it out. I thought it was building. And I thought there's very much. I think Romero. Absolutely. To get that ball, to get their goal. I thought it was building up. My concern was that Nuno was playing for the draw, and time again, as we've seen, we try to play for the draw, or he plays for the draw, he settles for it, and it bites us in the arse, and that was the problem. I thought it was going to bite us in the arse. And when it was Skulls, wasn't it? Let me know if I've got this completely wrong. My memory's going, because sometimes my memory does go and things. But I think when Skulls touched the ball, and I thought, this is a penalty, that's it, we're going to lose this game. Which I thought at that point it would have been harsh on us, because I thought for the first half, obviously, we did so well. The second half, we defended really well. We had 3 or 4 chances, and I thought, they weren't close chances, in all fairness. Maybe one was better than the other 2, but I thought we had, 3 chances there where we were still a little bit of a threat at times. And there were times where we just found ourselves in the Spurs half, or Spurs, trying to put crosses in and getting corners. And I thought, there's still a bit of hope there. There's still a bit of fight in us to go forward, But really, I thought tactically he was setting up to bring us back and not lose the game, right? And I thought, as they got stronger, as they got their goal, I thought we were just. It was that we were very close from just fading away. I think the commentators were saying that we'd spent so much energy in the first half trying to take it to Spurs that we kind of blew ourselves out. And I started to feel that a little bit. But I tell you what, fair play to us. We kept at it, and we kept. We kept at it, and we could have easily let another goal in, or we could have, had a penalty awarded against us, in my opinion. Yeah, Tati had that great chance. He was, I've got to say, Castellanos Valentin Castellanos has actually impressed me. I've got to say he's impressed me. Yeah, he's got the goal last weekend, of course, but against QPR. But it's just he gets into those positions where he's making himself a nuisance. He's getting his foot on the ball. He's taking strikes on goal. I think if once he settles in a little bit more, once we play to his strengths a lot more, I would love to see him. Now Wilson's got his goal. Surely, Nuno, play Wilson alongside Tati, or if you're not going to play Tati, play me alongside Pablo, but just play Wilson in there. Give him some direction. Give him some, whatever. Let them feed off each other a little bit. See how that works out. But I don't know, again, because I'm as confused as everybody about this whole Wilson issue. I'm confused about what tactics does Nuno want to play now, and what what can we do in the next coming weeks? Because I will stand by this. And I will argue with anybody on this. I'm convinced that Nuno was surprised by the Wilson goal, that we weren't going to go for the win. I'm convinced by it, absolutely convinced that we were not for the win there. So nice to see a cohesive performance overall. Quite surprising, mate. Well, yeah, very good prize. I mean, overall, in terms of the players, the performance, I thought they did great. I think they did great. Overall, first half, second half, for different reasons, offensively, defensively, for different reasons, different parts of the game. But So I was overall very, very impressed. But can they do it again, right? Play Wilson as the 9 and Tati as the 10. It'd be interesting to see how he can set them up, where he will find their best position, and how that actually shows itself in a game. Do you know what I mean? It'll be interesting to see. Do you play them do you play them as a 9 and a 10? Do you play them, whatever configuration you're going to play them in? I just believe that, having them up there together would be better. Would you give Wilson a proper contract to keep him instead of pay for play one? If there was a point here where we're talking about Wilson wanting to renegotiate his contract, or whether we just play him and just pay whatever it is, then I think you just pay him and that's it. You just pay him. There's no point in renegotiating his contract now. Just pay whatever he is for his performance, and don't let that come into your thinking in terms of, should I play him, should I not play him, it's going to cost us all this money. No, we need, look, if you're going to go and spend 50 odd million on 2 players, and then you're worried about spending an appearance fee and a goal fee for Wilson, then your maths is all over the place here. You shouldn't be spending 50 million on players then, should you? You shouldn't worry about having these appearance fees for Wilson. I think it was a bit of a silly contract for them to sign, especially given the lack of strikers that we had. But he's thinking, when he signed the contract, I'm going to get loads of games here because they haven't got anybody to do this, to be a striker, or certainly a striker as good as me. And it's kind of bitten them on the arse because he's shown them how much they need him, or how much West Ham need him. So he's shown them and he's proved his point. So from his point of view, as long as he gets the time on the pitch, financially he's going to be happy, isn't he? But obviously he wants to keep, he's a professional. He wants to keep on playing and scoring, right? And this is why he was so pissed off when Nuno subbed him off at 55 minutes or whatever it is, 56 minutes against Bournemouth when he was onto a hat-trick. You say, well, what are you doing? What are you doing? You got a player here who can score goals. What are you doing? So this is not a Wilson thing for me. This is this is not a Wilson thing. This is a Nuno thing. Yeah. There we go. Let's have a look at some of these here. I think Wilson only came on because he had a deal with Nuno. I'm not sure about that. I don't know what's going on there. If Wilson hasn't been played because of money, Sullivan must now see must now see how fucking stupid it is to try saving a few bob. Yeah, absolutely. I say the economics here of these deals is completely wrong. Look, if you're asking me how much is Wilson worth, I think he's at his age in terms of, look, what is he worth to us now? For me, he's £100,000 a week striker because he's scoring goals, right? Because we're not seeing it, that's what you kind of think, but he's scoring goals. If at the start of the season, would you take a punt on him? I think you're looking at about a £50,000-60,000 a week, just on a 1-year contract. The question is, would he have signed a 50-60 grand a week? I think he would have done. I think he wouldn't, especially if nobody's going to pay for him, right? But because he's come in and he's scored goals, he's raised his game. He's raised his game, and he's raised his value. Absolutely. Let's have a look here. Here we go. I've been calling for Areola, Iron Hands, after a recent performance. Too soon. We've got to start showing love and appreciation for these players. I got to say, Mouser, this is one of the things that I was thinking about yesterday. That goalkeepers, especially, and defenders, will always make mistakes, and they get called out too often by us as fans. And I always hold up my hand, because I would say, oh, he's had a shit display, he's crap, right? I don't think we're as quick to lord over when keepers just have fantastic displays. Areola does it again for me yesterday. Fantastic display. If it isn't for his saves, right, some fantastic saves he's doing, we would be easily losing 4 or 5-0, right? So he does it again. Does it again for me. Hammer of the Year. Great shout. Great shout. He's in the running. Why not? Why isn't he in the running? Absolutely. The deal with Nuno is he will only sit on the bench if he come. The deal with Nuno is he will only sit on the bench if he comes on. I'm not sure what you're trying to say there, pal. But there we go. Let's get rid of that. Look, great win. Fantastic performance. Can we do it again? All the tunes and thrones with the players. What's going to happen right now? But look, defence we were great. Areola was fantastic. Midfield, I thought we were decent, not brilliant, but decent. We stuck at it. Up front, I thought we were decent, not brilliant, but I thought Somerville had a great game, as I've already said. Tati up there. Wilson. I think Wilson needs to start. I wish we can get rid of the politics. I wish we can get rid of all that nonsense, right? And just say, let's just put the players in, or play the players that are producing, that are performing. Those are the ones that we want. Anyway, that's it. If you like what I do here, keep on watching. Thanks for joining in. Thanks for sorry with the problems with the chat earlier on. For some reason it disconnected. I hadn't realised. Don't know why it does that. But thanks for watching. Go and enjoy your Sundays. Go and enjoy whatever you're going to do. Go enjoy it. And, on to the next one. On to the next game. Sunderland at home. I will be there. I will be holding them to account if they don't perform. But got to be hopeful after that. Surely we got to be hopeful, right? Right? Until we stop being hopeful again. Right. If you like what I do, as I say, keep on watching. I won't ask you to subscribe and like, but if you want to do that, that's fantastic. All I ask is, if you want to watch, do. If you don't, you don't. Right, catch you again. Have a good one, everybody. Thanks, everybody, for joining the chat. Love it, love it, love it, love it.